Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Johnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman, Shaka Williams. We are TSARE. This is There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate.
What up, though?
What up, though? We got a guest. A spur of a moment. Drop in.
Literally.
Drop in.
Detroit, what up, though?
Yeah.
Mr. Jason Brown.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
I'm just excited to be here and talk.
He's like, I was not expecting this. I came to say hi.
He did, literally. We just started talking.
Well, I'm down. I'm always camera ready, information ready.
For
All
sure.
right.
That's how you know when you do it for real, right? When you
Right.
you're not trying to remember nothing. You just really recounting what you've done.
You know
know
your
what I'm
stuff,
saying?
right?
You know what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we was talking about passive income, what's truly passive, right? And one of the arguments is that nothing is really 100% passive. It still take either work to build it up or to maintain it in some form or fashion, right? So one of the things, the tools you use between like real estate, apartment buildings, right? It still needs to be managed,
Right.
or you have to hire a manager. Even with stocks, the dividends, earnings you earn, but you still got to pay attention to your stock. So is there anything that's 100% passive?
Yeah, remember we said one thing.
What's
Interest,
that?
bank interest?
Yeah, the interest
But
that you
not really.
receive from the money that you put in the bank.
Not if you had it in SVB bank.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
well-
they passed you by.
Well, look, it's still passive, but you just lost, right?
yeah, that's
But-
true.
I mean, but I'm just saying, like, because you still had to do, that was the point, like, you still had to do work to get it there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
once you set it, you can't set it and forget it.
yeah,
pretty much.
you can
You
look. You
said
can.
you don't have
You don't
to,
got.
you
It's
just go
gonna
away.
earn on its own. You can. Yeah.
You don't have to.
It's as passive as you gonna get.
Right.
I would probably say when I think of like true passive, it's like creating some type of work of art, like a musical song or a TV show that just continues to play on TV over time. That you don't really have to manage that. I mean, as long as you hit.
That's a good one.
See,
You
so
know.
his point is what we were talking about, what the people were saying about YouTubers. Like they were saying that that's becoming what people are considering to be more passive.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
At
once you
some
build
point.
it up.
right.
Right.
But that was Jason's point because I mean, you have to do the work to do a TV show. You still have to do the recording. You have to get there. You have to practice. You have to do all the things. But once
some
you're
point.
done with it, now you're there earning the residuals.
I think the problem is you don't know that you have a hit till
Yeah.
it's you could build a ton of content and not become the next Friends or become the next those shows that are just kind of timeless and classic.
Right.
So that's a tougher passive income to like rely
To get
on
there,
those.
yeah.
Right. But once you make it, you made it.
Right.
Because I'm still buying Run DMC albums, and they still eating off me, right?
You wait a minute, hold on. You're still buying Run DMC albums, like physical albums?
Yeah, people starting
vinyl
to release
or
vinyl
CD?
again.
Okay, vinyl.
Yep. So when they
Gotcha.
release it, I'm gonna collect it. They stuff be like $40 a pop
Damn.
for vinyl. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you think about music too, maybe you had a hit beat that all the new people keep on sampling.
Right.
And so that's another, maybe not the song, but the beat, just
Right.
keeps getting
Passive.
sampled.
Yeah.
Somebody gotta come in there and get it signed off on. You gotta sign off on your money, and you have an attorney that's paying attention to make sure that people not stealing your beat.
Right.
So
But
you
you
still,
personally
you
don't
know-
have to do a
I mean,
lot
you're
of
doing that
work.
when you put money in the bank too. I mean, not the same way, but you're putting that bank in there to pay for the protection of overseeing it.
Yeah, but we learned it ain't all protected.
I want to talk
So,
about
look,
that.
look,
Let's talk about that.
I didn't get a chance to read those articles. I'm about to be commentator in a minute, but no, because so Jason's bringing up some good points. Last time we were talking about this, I talked about farming, crops. They said absolutely not.
Hell
No.
They know way in the world.
Sunflowers? You plant them boys one time.
That's active income.
Yeah,
talking
you
about
working.
farm.
You working.
Farming, that's-
So there are no crops that become passive.
Nah.
no.
I mean, do they
An apple tree?
Do they passively grow? Yes.
Not really.
Do
You
they
gotta work
passively
at 'em.
fall into a bucket and get cleaned into the supermarket?
You gotta feed them. You gotta
gotta
soil
feed 'em.
them. You give them the good manure and stuff. You
I
gotta do
tried
everything.
again.
Yeah.
It
We
didn't
got
work.
daylight saving time because of the farmers.
Yeah.
So it ain't passing.
No,
They wanna
that's
get
hard
up
work. That's
earlier,
real hard
It
work
is
work.
real
later.
hard work.
Yeah. That's something. I don't even. I mean, I see why they get rich. They worth, every dollar that they get.
So Jason taught me a strategy. I'm part of the Brown Report, Power Trades in the House. You never go broke
taking a profit.
That's what's up. So one of my favorite strategies is just buying the stock and selling calls against it, because it's always somebody that's gonna pay you for the possibility that it's gonna go up. And if they don't call you out, you keep the money, like an earnest money deposit on people that never bought your house.
So what he's saying is, well, you can explain it. Go ahead.
I call it the rental income strategy for the stock market. So it's super similar to real estate. You could buy a $100,000 house and rent it out to a tenant, or you can buy $100,000 worth of stock and you can collect rent every single 30 days for owning that stock. It's called technical term is called a covered call. You're covered because you own the stock. And then you can sell call options against this, where let's say you own, for just simple sake, let's say you had Apple stock at $100. If you bought 1,000 shares, it would cost you $100,000. But you can sell a 30-day option that says someone can buy it from you at 105 or 110, and you may make $1,100 in rental income. And if the stock is not at 110 in the next 30 days, then you get to do it over and over again. And so you may say, well, what happens if the stock moves up to 105? Well, next month you can sell a $115 option. So you're kind of always pushing it $10 out into the future, and you're kind of collecting that rental income every single month. And same thing is if the stock falls. If the stock falls down to $90, you can sell the $100 call option, which technically would be your break even if it got called out from you, but you just keep collecting that rental income. So even if it fluctuates, just like real estate fluctuates, you can still collect that rental income.
But they could call you, so it's almost like a lease option.
Sometimes they call you, because I've had like American Airlines and other stocks where I may have sold an option, let's say like he said $100, and so I sold a $110 option, and it went to 110 or 115, and they called me out. I'm like, dang, my stock that I paid $100 for is now worth 115, but they bought it from me at 110, plus I kept that premium. So I'm not really that mad, because I only paid $100
you want to be a rental, but so you had to basically lease option is very similar to that, because they got you leasing it out, but they got the option to purchase it at a certain dollar amount within a certain time, right?
Sort of.
But the difference is they're only going to purchase it if it's at or above that agreed upon number.
I mean, same way in real estate. I mean, they not going to buy it. Like, let's say you got a lease option and the market went down. They're not going to buy it for more than what it's worth.
So then, it's very similar. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. The reason I like that a lot is because I can collect money every month and I don't have to worry about tenants.
Right.
A lot of people are saying that they prefer to go the stock route because you don't have the property maintenance, you don't have the tenant calls, you don't have to evict no one. So it's a cleaner, quote unquote, investment potentially.
Well, it takes a little bit more knowledge though.
True.
I think to do some of the trading part of it.
I think the fundamentals are the same. From I think the technicals are different, but the fundamentals are the same. So meaning, if you were going to buy a $100,000 house, same research you would do to get that house. What neighborhood is it in? Is this neighborhood up and coming? Do the houses stabilize over here? Is it high crime rate? I want a property manager to manage it. You take that same thing into the stock market. It's like, is this an upcoming industry or a dying industry, right? And you also think about not necessarily a property manager, but who's running the company, who's the leadership. So you're kind of doing similar research, but different research. And as you do that different research, you're trying to come to the same conclusion. Is this a good neighborhood to park $100,000 in? So when people think, I talk to people in real estate and they're like, it's so different until I talk to you. And then I talk to people in the stock market and they're like, I thought it was so different in real estate until I talked to you. It's like, it's really the same. You just have to pick, from a research standpoint, you have to pick which one you want to research and then which one you want to put your money in, because they both take the same amount of learning the industry and what makes a good investment or a good rental property.
Man, put your money in both. If you're smart, you'll have money in both in some form or fashion.
I think that's important too, because I think a lot of times people have like someone like me on as a stocks and option trader, or someone like you guys as real estate, And sometimes society wants to see us fight. Which one's
Right.
better? Oh, this is why you should hate real estate. Oh, this is why you hate the stocks. But it's not either or, it's both and.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
both great industries to be a part of, and they're both two huge creators of wealth. So you can't really go wrong. So it's not really like bashing either industry. Like, you got to fix toilets. It was like over here, a bank could crash out of nowhere and take all the stocks down for
Speaking
no
of,
real reason.
What happened?
like they doing that like Mike
Right.
and LeBron, right?
But if you smart, you can make money when that happens.
You
Yeah,
can.
That's always the transfer of wealth, right? In
Same-
both ways, right?
Same thing with real estate, right? When the market crashes, those who know, like, can scoop up a ton of houses. So it's you got to learn how to play both. And then obviously you get a ton of tax breaks in real estate. But then there's stuff you could do in the stock market, or you start opening up Roth IRAs and different things like that, so you can have tax shelters. So they're very similar. You just have to find the cheat code for each one.
They got to join the Brown report.
They can definitely check out the brownreport.com and learn some of that stuff. But some of it too, you don't learn until you
Do.
do it, or till you have a certain amount of money. Like every like people like to get on and talk about all these strategies, but like, I'm just gonna call it like it is. There's like strategies for poor people, strategies for middle class, and there's strategies for rich.
There's levels to this.
Yeah, and sometimes the rich get on and like, oh, I bought this property in my company name and had it in my holding account. It's like that's not for the regular 9 to 5 guy. That's for
a
some,
lot.
Did y'all just hear Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods is
his girlfriend was suing him?
Suing his not him.
His trust.
She's suing his trust.
But she should have
For
been
30
suing
million.
him.
Like what?
Yeah,
So she can't even. He like you didn't have an agreement with me or my trust.
right. Because the trust and what their attorneys were saying, the trust is technically not a legal entity
Right.
to be sued because she was staying in the house. They broke up and they was like, come go somewhere or something.
Yeah.
She couldn't get back in the
So
house.
basically, she's suing
But-
them because she's saying that she was supposed to stay with him rent free for 5 years, and she
Right.
said that's worth 30 mil,
Yeah.
$6 million a year in rent.
Ain't no cho-cha
What?
worth it. So
that's sad.
yeah,
That's
and
kinda sad.
they
That's what happened
argued
when
that
you're rich.
her agreement was verbal and it was under a year. Anything over a year needs to be in writing.
Right.
So since it was over a year, it should have been in writing. So that's where they got caught up at.
He had the NDA. They trying to argue the NDA. They trying to say that's not even legal.
Right.
This is
What?
crazy.
I didn't even
yeah.
hear about that.
Yeah.
They say that though. Like that's the unfortunate thing. You work out, or work on getting all these things put in writing to protect yourself, and then they try to tell you that it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Jeter told me that. I
Like,
called Jeter
what?
right after she left. I'm like, Jeter, I'm about to hire somebody. I need him to sign. She like, yeah, that really ain't worth nothing.
Right.
It's kind of like LLCs, though, right? It was like, put this in the LLC to
Man.
protect
Yeah.
yourself. It's like, them boys can be pierced.
But,
Yeah, you know what I
listen, you can if you do it like Tiger, right? If you do it the right way, it does protect you. But the problem is most people don't run their LLCs the proper way.
Man, I'm gonna
They
tell you
co-mingle.
like this. Most real estate investors I know, they get their LLC, they go online, they do it themselves. They don't have an operating agreement. They don't record none of that. They don't document any of their meetings, corporate resolutions. Then you get ready to close, and they don't have none of the paperwork they need to sell the property. Because title companies will let you buy all day in your LLC. You go to sell that boy, they like, who are you?
So we got to do a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, you can buy it. When
Right.
it comes
Yep.
to selling it.
Like, who are
what's
you?
your name
Who are
again?
your partners? Because it's in the company name.
It is.
And we don't know who's in the company until we have proper documentation.
I'm like, you ain't look at the articles of organization. That
Yeah,
it's not
but
good enough.
your operating agreement may say
Everything
something
under there.
different.
Right? No, true.
Yep.
I was just looking at ours. I just had to fill out some stuff, and I was looking at what we have, and I'm like, okay, it's here. Is it signed? I scroll down, like it's not signed. Well, I'm sure we got a signed one somewhere.
Yeah. That's somewhere it's what get people.
Right, somewhere in the cloud. It's
Exactly.
in the cloud.
That's funny.
Like, geez, okay, passive income. So, real estate. Is this an overall umbrella of passive income, or is it by category or levels to it?
I think there are some forms that's more passive than others. So like when you buy multifamilies and you got management in place, yeah, you can sit back and look at your statements every month. But typically, the 1 and 2 single families, usually it's like a mom and pop or individual owner, and that's definitely not passive.
Okay, real estate sales person business.
Not passive. Now you can have a team like we have, but that can grow to be passive. But they're still going to take some involvement to build it up,
I feel like it's gonna take a
or
lot.
even the brokerage.
It's gonna take a lot of involvement. Even when you grow the team, you still got to come back and you gotta lead the company. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Like, you don't have to be
you
there
can
every
hire
day.
people in place to lead it. It can be somewhat passive. Like you
No,
can.
all right, think about KW. You think that it's passive for the
I
Gary
know
Keller?
teams.
Gary
I
Keller?
know,
Yeah.
I know teams that are team lead. I'm not talking about the brokerage. or
No,
the
but it's,
company.
Gary
Gary
Keller is
Keller.
the largest. You ain't getting no larger than him.
No,
Is it
but
passive
I'm
for him?
saying your individual team. You can have a team and work maybe a couple hours a week.
How much you think he worked?
Who, Gary Keller?
Yeah.
Well, that's a different level.
Yeah.
He worked way more than that. But I'm talking about a team that got 20 or 30 agents on their team. They built it up. They got a listing management specialist, a buyer management specialist, all this in-house, and they can come in probably a couple hours a week and just oversee everything.
I don't think so.
Oh, I know,
hear you,
I
though,
know. So
but
I
don't
know
think
people
so.
that do it.
They not coming in no couple hours. A
I
week.
know
you gotta,
people that
you gotta,
do it.
So you still gotta watch your. So they like basically you saying they the CEO.
Exactly.
So the CEO gotta work. Like everybody think the CEO position is a
I was
position
gonna
where you don't
bring
do
that
it.
up. If Gary Keller is acting as the CEO, then he has a passive business, but he chose also an employment role. But you can hire a CEO to come in and run
I think
the
he do
company.
got a CEO,
exactly.
don't he?
Yeah, he
bunch of
does.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's
he's
still. Well, I mean,
Right.
he's just in it
They
by
call team
choice.
leaders.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
a CEO. I mean, he got Mark King and what's the other guy?
Yeah, it's a lot of people that's at
Yeah.
the top of that ladder. He
Yeah.
show up to family reunion and talk speeches, and he's still running the company and overseeing stuff. But there's other people in place to take on the
You're
day-to-day
probably looking at
activities.
screens more than anything else.
Data,
Yeah.
for
Kind
sure.
of like
Data.
Microsoft, right?
Right.
And, even Amazon, Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO, and so the company's still moving forward. I think it's Sanjay Nardelli who runs Microsoft, right? I believe. But I don't think. I guess it's a little difficult to say who owns it now that it's a public company. The shareholders own it, I guess. But he's probably still the largest shareholder. But that's.
You think that's
when
passive?
you start to get to passive-ish.
You think it's passive? Now?
Right.
Passive-ish.
I think that he definitely. I think all of them still work. And so yes, I hear you. So what you're saying, passive is.
But it's
ish.
become so big
It's not
that
as much.
Amazon's gonna run whether Bezos steps into the office or sends an email.
He
or
definitely in the B quadrant, right? But but I'm saying he's still. So even in the they talk about that in the book, right?
Right,
About
being a
the B
business
quadrant
owner or
being
an
where
investor.
it's passive,
Right.
and but I'm still waiting to see because I still think Warren Buffett, all those guys, they still work.
But it's more by choice. It can
Yeah,
it
I
can
think
run
it's
without
more
him
by
being
choice.
there.
I don't think that is by choice because why would you choose to work if you don't have to? I think that
It's
you
for the
it's
love
what
of the
you have
game,
to do
man.
in order to make sure that your
You ain't
organization
watch
stays
Paid
on
in Full
top.
when he was like, I just love the game, B.
So look, that's like saying like LeBron. LeBron don't have to play basketball no more, right?
It's for the love of the
Technically, it's a
game.
choice for Brian to play, keep playing,
Right.
but he's still playing, and he working at it, right? He got to get up, he got to work out, he got to eat right. You know what I'm saying? He got to go to sleep. He got to do all the work that it takes.
Right.
He don't have to do it, but he's still working at it, right? They doing the same thing.
But it's for the love. That's the point.
Right.
I got you, but it's
All
still
right,
working.
so when you
know
get
what I'm saying?
to-
I agree.
Certain levels of money, so let's say like LeBron or Shaq might be a better person to talk about. Is he living a passive income
No.
lifestyle?
No.
He got business
worked every day.
passive. Because I guarantee you Shaq ain't running most of them
He in the
businesses.
commercial,
I don't
though?
think so Shaq gonna be in his commercial.
He got to do his commercial. He got to fly wherever he at to
Yeah,
go to the
really have to do
commercial.
any of that.
He got to do his promo. You know what I mean? He working. He not working as hard.
But when
he
we're talking about
working.
like Starbucks or Star Theaters or whatever, those businesses,
Right.
He working. Just not as hard. He's a
How
pacifist.
about Wingstop and Rick Ross?
Rick Ross,
He working.
Rick Ross be
No.
working,
He back
eating
there,
the wings.
frying them.
He the-
Every time you put it in a rap song, right?
Yeah, he the taste tester.
Okay.
Lemon pepper.
So, okay, for a learning perspective, is there any ways to earn passive income?
Passive-ish is the word.
Passive.
Oh, so it's
Yes.
passive.
Nothing
Yeah.
is 100% passive, but
So,
some
wait.
things are just more passive than others because it requires less work. And some things you can own and you can sleep at night.
I think we just talked about, it's my good old saying, I'll be like, nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. So everything that you guys said, we talked about like high level players in the money game, right? And you're saying that they all still participate and they are still all working, they're all still getting up. Shaq got to go to sleep so he can get up, right? But if you're not up, moving around and doing something every day, you're just not gonna make no money. That's what it sounds like.
Or you might not. You might not be able to maximize the amount of money you can make.
I think
Shaq
you
still
can.
work at TNT. He do.
But
I
you see
think
what
he-
I'm saying? Like he's still
I think-
moving, he's
I
still
think
bringing in
I
wealth
think
and
Shaq
dollars.
can stop right now and still live good, and his money would still come in. That's
I would
passive.
agree that he could, but you're not looking at what his expenses is. So I just don't think that
He
Shaq
can cut his
getting up-
expenses. He can move to Farmington and be great.
Everybody can't. Like everybody can do that, right? But they just don't do it. That's the thing. The more money you make, what they say, the more what?
The
Probably.
more you spend.
The more expenses you take
I thought it was more
on.
money, more
Right.
problems.
Same thing. It's same
That
thing. Right. But the more money you make, normally people, I would say the majority of people take on more expense. So
Right.
yeah, he make a lot of money, but now he got private jets, and I'm sure he flying to his shorts for his commercials on a private jet. He not flying charter. I mean, yeah, charter.
But you still hit a point where you can't even spend fast as it comes in.
Yeah, give it away.
You talking about like Bezos, like $100 and some billion
Yeah,
dollars.
like it's only so big of a yacht he could buy.
Yeah.
There's only such big of a plane, right? So like at
How
a
many
certain
islands?
point,
Right.
you can only be on one or two of them.
You can rip the other ones out.
They
That's
always.
why they start going to outer space.
That's it. That's
'Cause
what I was
it's
about to
just
say.
like,
Yeah.
okay,
They start doing
Start
other
playing
stuff.
The billionaire game.
Yeah.
Billionaire space race.
That's crazy.
that's Jack. That's dope.
All right. Well,
But
I
how-
tried,
JB.
y'all.
What? To
Hey,
find
I got
some-
Yeah.
I got to touch on something though, because me and Jason was having this conversation earlier, and I see it all the time with real estate investors. It's about this mindset. Sometimes you don't know when you won, right? So you make a good investment, you stay into it too long, or like even with real estate, you buy a property, you get a good offer on it, maybe you flipping the property, and you're like, no, that's not enough, and then the next offer be even less, and it sit on the market 40 days, then the offers just keep going lower and lower. So what is it about that mindset that doesn't allow, is it just strictly greed, or what do you think it is? Or people just like gambling?
I feel that's a broke mindset. So we had a situation like that, right? And we could have had $10,000 more.
Right.
Remember we talked about this
Yep.
on another episode, and we did. We had a 10,000. We had an appraisal that came in less than $10,000 less than what we had were offered, and it was already accepted. Then we paid for another appraisal just as a contingency because we had a
Right.
backup
Yeah.
offer,
Yep.
and they were on the last day. They actually wanted to push it out a day, which we could have allowed, and then they would have been out of contract, and then we could have went and got that other 10,000.
Right,
But it was like, man, we just need to get this off the books so we can get to the next one.
Oh, man.
right.
You know what I mean? And it was $10,000. It's a real thing. You know what I mean?
Right. But you made profit,
Still
right?
thinking about my
Yeah.
$10,000.
Never go broke making profit, man.
No, we
Get
gotta
that
add
money.
that to the. You just made me
Right.
think.
But
Never
That need to go
broke.
on the our sales log.
Yeah, that too. Whatever y'all was saying, that little side
Remember we
by
talking about
hustle.
it ain't been 2 years since Evergreen sold.
oh, I put that on there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think and I look at most people. It's fear, is greed, and I think there's a third combination of short-term thinking. And so it's like he just said, like sometimes you fear, like you like we need to get the most out of this because this is gonna be the last deal we ever get. That's fear. You don't think you're gonna ever flip another house and make the 10,000 back. Then there's greed, where it's just like, we're making 30,000, but we should make 40. It's like, 30 should be, it's good. You're making a profit. But then there's that short-term thinking where you're not thinking about the fact that if you don't get this deal done, the house could sit on the market. It could get vandalized. We could have a super cold winter and the pipes bust. And you're not really thinking about
Whole cost.
taking that money and rolling it into the next deal that you won't have the money for the down payment until you get out of this one. Sometimes some people are so short terms, like, nah, we got to get this extra 10, that they make these missteps that could have catapulted them forward. And it's really a progressive game, right? I mean, if you do 10 deals and make 30,000 on each deal, and you come out with 300,000, or you try to milk everyone for that extra 10, maybe you only get through 3 deals.
Yep.
So it's like you won the battle, but you lost the war.
Right.
Yeah, in our situation, one of the huge motivating factors for me saying, "No, let's keep this deal," was, yeah, we had to hire an appraisal, but they still had to close. You know, they still had to go through the whole underwriting process.
Right.
So we turn this for sure money away that we can close on today,
Right.
to hope that we're gonna get that 10,000. And if that didn't close, actually, we was right. That was right before the market changed.
We didn't need another appraisal though.
No, but I'm saying,
Like if we had had a
Yeah,
on the
that's
market.
what
no, we would have had to come back on the market. Who says that somebody would have came back and given us those same
Right.
offers? You know.
That's
Yeah.
tough. All right,
Well,
y'all. So that's a wrap.
That is
Thanks
definitely a
for
wrap.
Well,
JB coming
You didn't
out.
tell me where to find them.
You said tell him what?
Where to find Jason.
Man, if you can't find Jason Brown, you ain't on the internet.
Just look up "You Never Go Broke Taking a Profit." But no, really, check me out at thebrownreport.com on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, the website, it's thebrownreport.com. I appreciate y'all having me. This is
Yeah.
fun.
It was. Right. We have more to talk about. We're gonna do it on another episode, though.
Yeah. All right. Peace out.